Oh, dude, now what? Fucking annoying. 2018 was the year that I played Yakuza 0, along with pretty much everybody else. Everybody liked the game, it was a huge success, and everybody, including me, waited patiently for the rest of the games to be released in the West. However, SEGA never bothered to do so. But an event only described as a paradigm shift took place during the latter half of 2020. SEGA figured out that people would actually like to play their games and released Yakuza 7 along with a bunch of other Yakuza games to Steam. And my god, it took him so fucking long to figure that out. And that's when I decided that I would start the long journey to play and review all the Yakuza games. And that means none of the... Okay, listen, there's a zombie game, first of all, and then there's the Fist of the North Star spin-off, where it does the meme and shit. And there's also like a samurai spin-off, like with guns though, of course. Why are those even a thing? I don't get it. You don't know that found footage of it? Looks kinda cool. I might play it regardless. So anyways, thus far I have played through Yakuza Kiwami, Yakuza Kiwami 2, and I've started Yakuza 3. And I gotta say, goddamn, these are some quality games. I love playing as Dame guy, both in the main story and also the sub-stories. In this side quest, I'm guilting this 27-year-old into keep playing toy cars. And if he quits, he's a loser. It's great. And of course, there's also the karaoke bar music, which you might have heard about. So anyways, this is the part 1 of a longer series that has taken me an even longer time to start editing, to the point that you can see people booting up Among Us in some of my footage. And I'm of course starting with Yakuza Kiwami, the remake of the first game, which clearly came out in 2005.
You son of a bitch! You take us for some bitches? Hey! Kill this! Dumb motherfucker!
Featuring Mark Hamill as Majima and Tom Cruise as Kiryu. And that's nothing but the truth. Thank God they made a remake of this game. Okay, one more clip, okay?
You deaf? Fuck off!
Aren't public restrooms open to everyone?
Motherfucker!
Yes.
Chapter 1. So the story starts with the bigger reveal that Kiryu seems to have killed the big guy of the Yakuza clan. As the police storms in, we get a quick look at a ring, and Kiryu gets so angry that he creates a flashback. This is when we meet the sweetheart, dumbass sidekick that you get for free in every purchase of any Yakuza game, that you just know is gonna die for plot reasons later on in the game. The only thing he does in the game is that he asks to go to brothels. Nobody really gives a shit about him, so just get to the guy you actually care about. Your job today as Kiryu is quite a normal job. You just kick down the door and get this guy to pay. This is when the tutorial for the combat system starts. It's relatively simple and fun, and it's the main reason why people play Yakuza games. Not me though. I have other reasons. Anyways, the combat system is similar to that of other action games. You have your light attacks and you have your heavy attacks. Your punches and kicks, your 1 and 2s, your fucking sicko mode and mo bamba, and accompanying your beastings, you of course have your butterfly floats, and you can also grab enemies to throw them into the ground. However, what makes Yakuza special is the heat system, in which all these basic actions mentioned above fuels a heat meter, and when it's high enough, you can devastate your opponent with a special move. And oh boy, this is what Yakuza combat is all about. And what really sells the effect and makes it really good is that it's highly contextual. Like watch closely now. I grab this dude and I trigger it, then I hit the other guy behind me, because that guy behind me was gonna attack me, but then the game saw that and I clicked it and it hit both of them. Okay, you're gonna like this clip. Here I stand by a wall and this guy attacks me, and I dodge it, hits the vending machine, and I put his face in the vending machine, and I kick his fucking knee, and then he's on the ground, now he's fucking dead. But it gets better. Here in this clip, I accidentally pick up some firecrackers, and then I put the firecrackers in front of him, I put it in his mouth, and it explodes. Okay, the guy in the previous clip might not have died, but this guy's dead. He's dead. The early game of Yakuza Kiwami really treats you, because according to the story, Kiryu is at his peak, both in happiness and in his career. He's very close to creating his own Yakuza family branch. Everybody respects him or looks up to him, and the gameplay reflects that. You start off with pretty much everything unlocked. I mean, just look at your HP bar. And the very first 3 fights, you can just play in God mode really. But the biggest treat of all is... The biggest treat is... It's him! Kiryu-chan!
お久しぶりです。真島の兄さん。
Olá, eu sou o Goro Majima. Estou aqui para desejar a proteger o lote vazio. Goro Majima!
Why is he here? What does he want? Nobody knows, and that's the beauty of Majima. He just shows up, beating up the guy disrespecting you, and then he wants to fight you because you don't care you got disrespected. And when you decline, saying that's fucking stupid and there's no reason to fight, he gets super angry and says trying to be the nice guy in the Yakuza world will eventually break you. And he says all this as if he just watched The Dark Knight and made Joker his new personality. But then he just lights up, says he admires you, and is gonna stalk you to find a reason to fight you. He leaves, does not elaborate, and jumps with joy. What the fuck is he talking about? After all that, you finally get back to your second home, and meet the bar buddy along with Nishiki, your so-called sworn brother and greatest friend. He also made Yumi, and look how all soft and cute Kiryu becomes. Everything is just perfect here. Until you get to the worst part of the game, you get a flashback to months ago in which you bought a ring for Yumi. And if I were him, I would try my best to suppress his memory, because my god. I'll try my best to summarize what happens, but it's gonna take a while anyways. So you leave the bar to go to the store, in which I'm too poor to know the correct term for. You get in, you buy it, and then you have to run all the way back to the other side of the map, only to bump into some sussy man, and he obviously steals it. Can't have shit in Kamurocho. You talk to a guy who also got pickpocketed, you run to an alley and find him, and then he just runs off again, while pickpocketing some other guy. Then you run around everywhere again, and find him hiding in the stupidest place possible. You beat him up real nice, but somehow he had time to pawn off the ring. So you get to the other side of the map again to get to the pawn shop, but you don't have the money to buy it back. So you borrow some from Shinji, who thinks you're gonna buy an hour at the brothel. You go back in, only to see the price suddenly increase. Oh, it's gonna cost, dude. So you get back to Shinji again, begging for money that he thinks is triple money, and then you get the ring back for free, actually. Also, by the way, this is not the only time we have to do something like this. Yeah, you better like it! You better like it! Everything's chill, guys. Because now we're meeting Kiryu and Nishiki's adoptive Yakuza daddy. And they reminisce about the orphanage theater and shit. It's nice, it's nice. Until I get a phone call that the patriarch of the Yakuza clan just took Yumi, and Nishiki ran after her by himself to save her? Gotta go! What? What? Why? It'll get worse. Nah, it's fine. Yeah, so I get her and we open the door and so the patriarch forced himself at Yumi, so Nishiki shot him to protect her. Based? Turns out Nishiki has a hospitalized sister, so Kiryu proposed to take the blame for the murder. And oh my god, what a tragedy this has become. Nishiki clearly is at least partly the right here, but is gonna suffer the consequences anyways, because of the reality of the Yakuza world. And here Kiryu is stepping in for his own sworn brother, sacrificing him. Dude, can I stop getting Among Us notifications? It's the worst possible time right now. Yeah, so we get put in prison for homicide. POV, it didn't call Saul. And suddenly, so much suspicious shit happens. First of all, your own father expels you from the clan, and Yumi has amnesia and is currently missing? Oh boy. And also there's assassins sent after you. Actually multiple assassins wielding forks, sent by Chairman Sarah, one of your presumed allies. Kiryu is at least really shocked. We also see Nishiki completely broken after what happened. There's clearly feelings of inadequacy and guilt. He even slaps Serena, which he would never do before. His sense of justice has clearly gone down. Remember when Majima said that doing the right thing will just break you in the end? He was right. You are then fast forwarded to when you get out of prison, without any information about what happened in the outside world. And this fast forward is actually 10 years long. What you quickly realize is that the Yakuza Tojo clan still lives in the shadow of what happened 10 years ago. There's still people who have a grudge on you, and want you dead. And Nishiki has gone all evil mode. Just look at his haircut. And he even wants to capture you. And also 10 billion yen is missing, and the chairman has been murdered. And Yumi is also apparently involved in this. For now, I'll put the story on hold, but as you can see, there's so much shit happening, and I didn't even reveal all of it. The Yakuza games are really good at making these mysterious narratives that you have to explore, and each thread just takes you deeper and deeper. As I mentioned earlier, this is a remake of Yakuza 1, and there's quite a lot of improvements added to the game. And the biggest improvement of all is seeing what Nishiki has been up to the last 10 years. As in the original, it was completely neglected almost. I was personally shocked that Nishiki had such a change in him, as the only other Yakuza game I played was Yakuza 0, which is the prequel. And Nishiki is nothing but a loyal and reliable guy in that game. These flashbacks really eases in this hard decision, and tells the story of injustice, failure, and the reality of the Yakuza, in a way that gives good context to the story of the game. A bad thing that came from the remake, however, is the balance of the combat system. That usually is kind of fun, but is also really broken and unbalanced. You see, this franchise is often compared to GTA, but it's more like a JRPG than anything else. Everybody else reviewing Yakuza games says the same shit, but it's because it's true. You got your random encounters, meaningful story with meaningful characters, and it even has an XP system and a skill tree. These gameplay mechanics might sound out of place for a beat 'em up game. Well, that goes for a lot of things in this game though. But it fits the franchise well, I think. Except for this game. You see, this game plays on the Yakuza 0 engine, it's pretty much built upon that game. And as such, it also ported over the 4 battle styles and skill tree design. I didn't mention this, but they have 4 styles that are interesting and fun and different most of the time, and it works quite well, and I like it. But Yakuza 0, however, did not have XP. It was money that you used to upgrade your abilities. And it was also split in 2 because there were 2 playable characters. Yakuza 0's upgrade system was made in the money system with highly lucrative minigames, and fit both the pacing of the boss fights and the pacing of when it was time to switch characters. You also had to unlock parts of the skill tree in Yakuza 0, which gives another way for the devs to balance the game. The result being that the gradually increasing difficulty seems to fit your gradually increasing strength with a good 1-to-1 ratio. Yakuza Kiwami, however, puts this upgrade system and strips away much of what made it work. And keep in mind, this system was also put into an obscure PS2 game from 2005, so it was kind of bound to be a disaster, with many difficulty spikes. Which brings me to the fucking Majima story fight.
You can't be serious. But I am. I'm always deadly serious. Come on. Let's do this. Get ready. To get fucked up.
My god. There we go. So the first problem in this fight is that there's like 20 normal enemies mixed with Majima, who is the boss. So every time you fail this battle, you have to fight all the goons, while Majima himself, or all the other goons, sneaks in attacks on you. So keep that in mind. And when you're finally alone with him, he rarely ever gets stun locked, can easily stun lock you. Dude, and has a lot of moves that last forever and are really difficult to punish. There's also this. You know what this is? It's him healing up. It's possible to cancel it, but I didn't have it unlocked yet. However, I did learn to adapt and manage to cancel it by picking up a bat and using a hit move on him. Regardless if you fail or succeed in cancelling the heal, he will still get put into his final form and he will start glowing, and it'll be even harder at this point. Oh, by the way, you wanna see something bullshit? I don't know. All this bullshit tied to Majima makes you really scared to engage, and in the end, you just have yourself standing around waiting for him to do an attack you can actually punish. Truly the Dark Souls of Yakuza. I would like to speak more about Majima and how the leveling system works. You see, the great new feature of this game is called Majima Everywhere, which the in-universe explanation is that Majima likes to fuck with you, and also he's making sure that you're cut out for the streets after 10 years in prison. Remember when he said he would stalk you 10 years ago? Majima is a man of his word, you know? Anyways, he just sorta shows up, and you have to beat him up, like all the time. And it's fantastic and funny. There's one time I followed him, and then I went in to buy a burger to heal up, and then he just showed up again. Another time, he showed up as a zombie, which I don't really understand still. Even the camera booth isn't safe. I can go on and list every single one, because they're all so great and unique, and they complement the minigames as well. I'll share this last one, because it's just amazing. So I have a Nishiki flashback in which he has a complete fucking breakdown. Then I walk for like 5 seconds, and then I see Majima dancing seductively. Fucking classic. But one day, after I beat him up a couple times, he mysteriously disappears. I got a message saying that he could be hiding anywhere, and believe me, I searched through every homeless shelter, brothel, and cracked den in Kamurocho, but I could not find them. Suddenly I lost a huge chunk of my source for XP, both in-game XP and also personal experience of how to play the game. And of course I lost them before I fought him in the baseball pit, and you all know how that went. So I went through hours of gameplay, only to find out way later in the game that he hid in some huge orange cone right outside my tunnels, all along. And at this point, I can't help but think that this is the perfect Yakuza experience. You see, Majima is not only the greatest character in fiction of all time, he's also part of the Komaeda archetype, same as all these guys. If you know one of them, you know all of them. There's quite a list of possible traits, such as having white hair, being male, and being just a little bit fruity. But the most important traits is that they are weird and eccentric. You're not sure of their intentions, and they dance around being seen as an ally or an enemy. And Majima, well, he fits this mold perfectly, you can't really deny it. He stands around the trash bins waiting for you for hours just to fight you, and as for the reason we're even fighting him in the baseball pit, is that he kidnapped a 6-year-old. For no reason. And also, it's not sure why he even wishes to fight you in the first place. And how does he even manage to lose? You've been in prison for 10 years, no experience, but you still managed to win against him somehow. Is he holding back? Does he limit himself to help you in your combat training? Or does he just want to fuck with you? Or does he actually have something to gain by ambushing you all the time? It says insanity genuine, or is it a facade for this hidden genius? More often than not, it's impossible to tell. At the end of the baseball fight, he actually sacrifices himself for you, and the last thing you see him do is fucking die while saying only he is allowed to kill Kiryu. And you know what my first reaction was? My reaction was that he genuinely tried to kill himself, just to fuck with you somehow. Having been wrecking him on the streets multiple times, and then him wrecking me tons of times in the baseball arena, with his weird ass ending, it just feels perfect. It wouldn't be a Yakuza game without some stupid Majima moments, and this really is the peak of stupid Majima moments. I would not have it any other way. This battle truly was quite hard for me, but in the end, this grueling journey of a fight did teach me a lot of how to win against difficult enemies in this game, and especially against Majima. All you have to do is simply go behind them. Turns out, if you manage to sneak behind enemies, they take a gigantic hit stun that they rarely seem to ever escape. And with this new discovery, and dozens of other Majima fights after this, I figured out how to deal with all 4 Majima's battle styles, which I will share with you as a gift. So first of all, Mad Dog. This is the most enjoyable way to fight Majima in my opinion, especially with the rush dance. It feels like both of us have transcended into full anime mode, with mere mortals witnessing our power. It usually goes back and forth and is fairly well balanced. There are many attacks you can outmaneuver and get some clean hits in, and it's especially easy to get behind them with some high levels of rush. Alright, the Breaker. This is the most annoying if you don't know what you're doing. When he goes down on the floor, shaking hella ass, there's nothing you can do really. Just give in to the funk and just let the man flow. That's the main thing you need to remember. Just wait until his animation fully ends, and then you can try to get behind him. The easiest route is to just wait until he gets all excited as if he's a wholesome 100 hecking chunker seeing Keanu Reeves, and let him attack, and then you simply dodge behind him and hit him. And you can pretty much repeat this until he's defeated. It's a bit slow, but whatever, like, this is how it goes. Now for the Slugger, which I think is the hardest one. Because of his attacks last a long time, does a lot of damage and has a huge range. The main thing here is just to let him finish his slow ass combos. The biggest exploitable attacks here is the giant cartwheel and the big powerful swing. The turnaround bat thrust is also easily exploitable. When it comes to the Thug style, there's not much to say. It's a very generic style in which he uses his arms and fists. But quite like the Slugger style, he has a lot of long combos, but you can exploit them quite often. One thing I like to do is that you just block this one combo and then you can dodge around when he uses his kick. And that concludes everything there is to say about Majima. He really just lives in my head rent-free, and not only because I hate landlords, but because I love him. And don't get me wrong here, the combat system works most of the time. It just has some of the bosses, the jankiness of it extrapolates to fucking Mount Everest levels of jankiness, and it's frustrating at some points. And if you think I went on a rant regarding Majima, you haven't heard me talk about the knives and guns in this game. Like, my god, you get hit once with a knife, or a sword, or a gun? Well, you can see for yourself. Stop! Stop! Stop it, please, man, please. I just want to play. Why is there guns in this game? It's not fun. Yeah, sometimes the consistency just goes bye-bye. But the core gameplay loop of comboing people and using heat moves, together with an XP system to get stronger, it never gets old. And with an amazing story, no amount of video game jank ruins it. And I haven't even mentioned the karaoke songs. You have one with a 6-year-old kid. That's pretty nice. But easily the best one is the sad one in which Kiryu reminisces about his brother Nishiki. It's actually so good and so sad. He just wants his brother back! And then there's the version of Bakumi Tai, the meme song, guys. Yeah, this version is kinda bad compared to the previous ones. Like, the original is like perfect, and this one is just a downgrade. Like, it has violins, and they're low-key spitting, but like, come on now. We know who the goat is. In a way, it's the perfect metaphor for this game really. Just like this song, the gameplay mechanics are essentially copied over from Yakuza 0. And while that is a good thing, the changes they made to it doesn't fit completely, and the game at times suffers from it. I get it. It's impossible to make the perfect game. Unless... Holy shit! I can't believe there's realistic battery physics in this game. Majima is dead! They actually brought Big Chungus back. Oh my god. Majima is a game man! Women! They actually added women!